They call him Paulie Malignaggi. I know him as the Magic Man. He's one of the top boxing figures in sports today. And not only is he a top boxer, but Paulie has superseded his career into sports analysis. And he is one of the best in the game today. This guy is going to be going heads up with Gennady Garcia this weekend. But one thing about Paulie Malignaggi, I remember years ago when I was watching ESPN, and it was my first time seeing the Magic Man. He kind of reminded me of Prince Nassim. He came into the ring, he had this flashy, flamboyant cachet about him. But one thing about Paulie, it wasn't a front. He's as brash as that character portrayed, for lack of a better word, because all of the ambiance that he brought into the ring was something like a fire that's inside of him. And he's passionate about the sport of boxing. And he also understands the science of boxing. So when I look at this fight, when he's going up in there against Gennady Garcia, I take it back a couple of fights when he fought Adrien "the Problem" Broner. Found out what Adrien Broner's weaknesses were, and then he exposed them directly in front of your face in the ring. The fact that the judges didn't get it right is besides the point, because that happens in boxing. But what Paulie Malignaggi did that night is showed that he understood the character of a boxer. He spoke specifically to something that most people were not aware of, is that whenever you bring the fight to Adrien Broner and push him back and stay on top of him, he will fold and he'll crawl up into a hole. That says a lot about the character of a man, especially Paulie Malignaggi, because he's shown that he understood the game, not just from the inside, but from the inside out. And that's why he does so well at what he does when it comes to sports announcing and commentating. And you can follow him, and he understands exactly what's happening within the ebbs and flows of the game, during the fight, post-fight. He knows the questions to answer. So when you look at him, knowing that he wants to redeem himself before he goes out of the sport of boxing, because going up against a Shawn Porter, which one thing you got to know about Shawn Porter and his style is that his style is not cemented one way. He's learning how to continuously adapt in fights. It's not about having a style. When you look at Shawn Porter, he's an offensive fighter that only fights in the spots that there are spots to fight in, and then he creates. So he fights on the attributes that he brings into the rings, which are his endurance and his conditioning. He's like smoking Joe Frazier, but he adapts. And Joe Frazier fought one way, even though it was spectacular. Shawn Porter is a variation of a Joe Frazier type. He has moments of Tyson, the head bop and the head slip, and that left hook lunging. But he hits you on the body. He stays on top of you, punches you anywhere. His father instructs him. He's a complete package. He's an offensive arsenal. So when Paulie matched up with him, it was not truly understanding what was being seen, because his style was still materializing. So it was harder to break him down. Now you look at him have an opportunity to fight against a guy that you actually know what his style is in Gennady Garcia. And Paulie Malignaggi can handle his business in the ring. That's one thing I can say about this guy. So with the multiple flurries and the style and the jab and the combination punching, the great footwork, head movement, he showed you how you can beat a fighter with power when he fought Zab Judah. He pushed him back, he made him fight off his back foot, and he never let him get comfortable all night long. And now he's the king of Brooklyn. Now you got Brooklyn against Philly. And I think he's had the time to sit down and decide that he wanted to make sure that he put on a performance like no other. And he's done it several other times. We have to tilt our hats to a guy who has the boxing cachet of a Paulie Malignaggi. The style. He's going up against a brash kid from Philadelphia and Danny Garcia, who's ready to also make a statement. But I think the intangibles are Paulie knows how to do more, and he knows how to get out of the way of more. And adding a strength and conditioning program within this training camp will not hurt. It would only help. So, like I said, this fight is compelling and interesting enough now that we can do a fight breakdown. So, tune in tomorrow and we will do a fight breakdown matchup and showing you the intangibles and how this fight could possibly play out. My name is Eric Bradley, coach, that is, and I thank you guys for watching. Right now you're watching Master Boxing. What our focus is breaking the fight world down, round by round. Shout out to Paulie Malignaggi and Brooklyn Fights. That's how we get it popping. Tune in tomorrow. The fight breakdown like no other. Malignaggi, Garcia. This is where it gets real in the fight world. Peace.